for Convergint Insight. Happy to be here. My name is Tim Gilger, Global Accounts Director for IDEMIA. Joining me today from IDEMIA is my colleague JJ Baird, our Director of Pre-Sales Engineering in North America. I'm going to give you a quick update on who IDEMIA is briefly, and then I'm going to hand things over to JJ, who's actually going to give you some live demos of the products this morning. Feel free to type in your questions into the chat. We will have a few minutes to address those at the end of the presentation. Okay, so if you are not familiar with IDEMIA as a brand, this gives you a little bit of our background, who we are, how we came to be IDEMIA. So back in 2017, Safran, Morpho, and Obither Technologies came together under the merged name of IDEMIA. So if you're familiar with some of the biometric brands under Morpho, that's kind of our history and our genesis, if you will, is how we came to be this one company called IDEMIA. So augmented identity is the phrase that captures a lot of our business units, from the biometric devices group to the border control, various identification products and solutions that we have for different business units around the world. So we do everything within IDEMIA, while JJ and I are focused on the biometric devices side. You'll see IDEMIA products in banking cards. You'll see them in border controls. If you have ever been to the Singapore airport, as an example, the facial recognition terminals when you enter the country are all IDEMIA products. You'll see them at TSA pre-check gates as well, through most of the US now. The group where JJ and I are focused on is in the upper left-hand corner of your screen here, the biometric access control and time and attendance group. So we're focused on products and solutions focused on access control, video surveillance, and time and attendance. Just a quick snapshot of who we are as a business, right? We have end user clients in over 180 countries. We are, I believe this is even a little higher than this now, but we're over 2.2 billion euros in revenue through the end of 2020, with over 15,000 employees around the world. And this is all of IDEMIA, not just the biometric devices group, but all the business units that we saw a moment ago. So what we're talking about today is our two touchless biometric products. So we're going to be speaking about and showing you a live demo of the Morphowave product and the Vision Pass product. While there are other solutions that IDEMIA offers, these are some of the most exciting solutions on the market right now. We certainly wanted to take the opportunity to share them with you and answer any questions that you had. So why biometrics for access control and for time and attendance? Having dual factor authentication is more important now than ever from a security standpoint. And we have learned, all of us in the last few years, that having just one form of identification that is just something you have, as opposed to something you are and something you know, is what a lot of organizations are not just looking for to be high tech, but they need for security purpose, for audit trail purposes, and for workplace optimization. So having just a credential that can be picked up, walked away with, even if it is a secure credential that cannot be cloned, sometimes that's not enough. So something you are, and the biometric device side, pairing that with something you know, like a PIN, or something you have like a secure access control card or mobile credential of some type, is where we are headed from our solution standpoint, and where we feel the industry is leading us. So with that, we're going to begin by talking about the Morphowave biometric device. This is the industry's only true contactless biometric product for fingerprint reads. So without further ado, I will hand things over to JJ Baird, and he can show things to you in much better detail than I can. JJ.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you. So what we'll do, we'll get started here. I'm going to take over the screen share from you.
Please.
And then what I have, actually, I'm just going to share my entire screen. because I want to show a couple of different things. I'm going to show the actual products, and we're also going to show maybe a bit of an enrollment procedure and various different things, and we'll play around a little bit as I take you guys through the products here today. So the two products that we'll be talking about, as Tim said, is going to be the Morphowave Compact, which is our contactless fingerprint recognition solution, and the Vision Pass as well, which is our facial recognition solution. And I'll try and split the time just about halfway between these two products. So the first product, as we said, is the Morphowave Compact. And it's not just a fingerprint identification solution, but it's reading the tips of your fingers to actually read the fingerprints with a very high speed, high refresh rate camera. And it's also reading the shape, size, and curvature of your fingers that's passing through. And this really helps with a couple of different things. This helps because you might have people that struggle with fingerprints. So it's going to give them better performance because we're adding another modality to the whole identification experience, which lowers your false reject rate to almost zero. And the second thing that we use that for is for spoofing detection, so that we can detect if someone is trying to put through paper fingers or a dummy hand or something like that, to make sure that we're not letting through any people that's trying to spoof the device. Now, in terms of the device, I'm going to give you a quick run through, and as we run through it, I'll tell you a little bit more about the technologies. So firstly, the device has a big touch screen on it. This can be used for LCD administration. So you'll see if I click on this button here, it goes into, and you can sort of see it if I turn it like this on the left-hand screen there. You can see it comes up with a pin pad, which allows you to get into the menu, set the IP address, set certain configurations. You can also lock this down completely so that if the device is out in the field, that people cannot walk up to it and actually get access to the administration menu. The background on the device is completely configurable as well. And all of the sounds that the device makes, even the GIF that you see displaying on there, which is telling the user what to do, we can even customize that. The screen is also used for multi-factor authentication. So if you have PIN as part of your transaction required for a user, the PIN request will also come up on the screen for them to type the PIN in directly from there. So you could essentially have three-factor authentication with card, biometric, as well as PIN. Down here is the card reader. This particular model is an MDPI version. So this reader will read MyFair, DesFire, Prox, and this is HID Prox 125 kilohertz. And then it will also read the iClass card. So this includes iClass, SE, SR, as well as the COS technology. And all of the smart cards actually do support encoding the biometrics onto the card itself as well. Then in terms of output options, actually before I get to that, while we're still talking about the smart card, there is also another variant called the MDPI-M, and this variant will also read HID mobile credentials. So we have integrated the HID mobile credential reader, and if you are using the BLE technology from HID, this device will read that as well with absolutely no problems. And you can use that for multi-factor authentication, or just as part of a single authentication factor, depending on from user to user what you want to do, because our device is completely, and all of our devices are the same this way, completely configurable so that you can have one user uses card only, one user maybe uses a BLE credential, one user uses biometric, another user uses card and biometric, and at this location they might use it like this, but at another location they might use it differently. So it is extremely configurable in terms of how you can actually use the device. In terms of output options, we do support your normal Wiegand. The device supports any Wiegand format, so it does not matter what the format is that you're using. The format is completely configurable down to the parity bits, down to where the ID is, down to where your additional fields are, like your facility codes. We also support OSDP. This includes OSDP Secure Channel and OSDP version 2. Essentially, it's version 2.x OSDP support that this device and all of the other IDEMIA devices have as well. There's also major updates and enhancements coming on the OSDP side within the next month or two. Now, in terms of how the device is used, extremely simple. I take my hand, and that's obviously not the hand that I enrolled, because I wanted to make sure that I had one hand that works and one hand that doesn't, just to show you that I'm not trying to spoof the system, or that it's not going to give access granted every time I swipe my hand, just because I've maybe programmed the device to do so. So you'll see it does give me access denied if that particular hand is not enrolled. So this hand is indeed enrolled. So if I just swipe my hand through, you'll see the device is almost instantaneous in the way that it identifies me. It is very quick. It is less than half a second in most situations where it will identify you. Actually, in most situations, it'll identify you before your pinky finger even leaves the edge of the device. So, and it, as I said, it's very forgiving. So the way that you'll use it is you can swipe it this way, you can swipe it this way, you can put your hand in this way. The device will work, doesn't matter what. So it's very forgiving if people want to use it in all kinds of different ways. Even if I take one single finger and I swipe that through, you'll see the device will still give me access granted. One finger or two fingers, it really doesn't matter. And the reason it does this, the device works on what's known as a threshold. And as I pass my fingers through, it's reading the fingers and trying to get the information from them, including the 3D information. And if it reaches a point where it has enough information from a mathematical perspective where it says, this is definitely you, it actually stops there and it says access granted at that point. So again, very simple. And I'll run through the enrollment process of, excuse me, of this device here. It is almost exactly the same as the way that you use it. The same device can be used as both an enrollment device as well as an access device, or you could dedicate a device if you wanted to as well. Again, very fast. This device supports up to 50 people per minute in terms of identification. Now, if I give you like 5 identifications right after one another, you'll kind of see the device has almost no delay between transactions. So you'll have to have, if you want people to move as fast as this device can move, they'll have to literally be standing on top of one another. So the technology is definitely not going to be your limiting factor. It's most likely more going to be a human type situation. Moving on, and we'll come back to the Morphowave here. I'm going to move on to the Vision Pass, which is the facial recognition reader, and then we'll swing back and we'll maybe do an enrollment if there's still enough time left. So the next product, and I just want to turn it so we don't actually blind you guys with the lights that it makes. The first thing is this light that you see up top on the reader here. This is not something that's visible by the human eye. So if you have this device in the lobby or somewhere like that, it's not going to be constantly shining this light and creating irritation for the receptionist or whoever is standing in the lobby. This is an infrared light, which only the camera seems to be able to see. Again, the device has this big touchscreen on it, same as with the Morphowave. It's actually a larger touchscreen, which is really helpful when you have a PIN scenario where you need to enter PIN, which makes it really easy not to fat finger a PIN, for example, because the buttons are nice and big and clearly defined. The reader also has a card reader built into it at the bottom here, and it's the same card types with the Morphowave. So the MyFair, the DesFire, the Prox, the iClass, and the CEOS cards. And on the DesFire, we have EV0, EV1, EV2, EV3, etc. Then the The next thing is the optical set, which is at the top. The Vision Pass works on a um, you could almost say camera system. It is a 3D camera that's on the device. There's a 2D camera, and then there's also infrared. And the various things that these three optical sets do is the 3D camera will map the 3D structure of your face. This gives additional biometric information. It tells us how far away a user is from the device, and it also the same with the Morphowave, has an anti-spoofing purpose. The next one is the 2D camera, which is the one that really benefits from all of the algorithms and deep learning things that have been happening over the last 5 to 10 years. And you'll actually see IDEMIA has one of the top facial recognition algorithms in the world because of our involvement within law enforcement and within civil identity spaces as well. So as Tim said, we do most of the passport systems, the driver's license systems in the US, and we also run the criminal database system here in the US, parts of it as well. Then the next thing about the Vision Pass is it also has that infrared camera, and that's useful in dark or very high light environments. So when we designed this product, we said, we don't want a customer to adapt to our product. We want the product to adapt to the customer. So we said, where do you want to put this device? We'll make sure that it works wherever you're going to put it. So if you're going to put it in a dark room, or you're going to put it in a place where maybe the sun is shining on it, we're going to make sure that the device works in all of those environments. So that's why we've got the infrared camera that'll make sure that we get still a clear image, doesn't matter what the lighting environment is. The next thing that was very important to us is the ability for the device not to only adapt to the environment, but to adapt to the person that's actually using it. So firstly, one of the main concerns that we hear related to facial recognition, especially in the news, is the fact that the device should not show any particular bias towards any particular race or religion or skin color or whatever the case is. So we're very proud to say that this device is one of the best performing devices in the world that will not show bias towards lighter or darker skin colors. It also adapts automatically to changing face conditions. So whether you're wearing glasses, whether you're wearing a hat, whether you're maybe got a skin tan or wearing makeup or wearing maybe a face mask, there's so many different things that you could do that the device will work around completely. And I'll try and show some of them today during the demo. So I'm just going to take a little bit of a step back, and I'm just going to turn towards the device, and you'll see the identification time is extremely fast. So again, I turn towards it and it identifies extremely quickly and extremely easily. If I add, as I said, if I add something to the mix here, so I maybe add a hat, I look over at the device, you'll see it's like it doesn't even realize it's there. I have my normal reading glasses, which I'm pretty sure I brought up here, but maybe not. If I add some dark sunglasses, look over at the device, again, you'll see it is extremely fast and effective. And even if I add maybe some headphones to the mix, I still get access granted. One of the other major things that the device does is the ability to detect if someone is showing intent. With any access control device, it's very, very important that someone is actually showing intent to gain access to a particular area. So you'll see I'm sitting pretty close to the device. I'm actually sitting within the read range, but the device is detecting that I'm not currently showing intent to gain access. The device works on multiple angles, so up to 30 degrees. It'll actually start identifying people, but it will determine at which point I'm actually trying to get access to that particular device. And it uses a combination of how far away you are versus where you're looking, and it uses some AI to actually determine if you are showing that intent to gain access. The next thing is face masks, which I know we're all probably tired of hearing about, but we have created algorithms that has enhanced our ability to identify people that are wearing face masks as well. So even if I am wearing the face mask, you'll see I still get access granted. And the one thing I did want to show you here, and I just needed to pull up the IP address of this particular device, is the ability for it to also do mask detection and mask policy enforcement. That's the wrong IP. It should have been a .1. I apologize. So it's going to take around 30 seconds to come back here. But what the device will do is if I'm not wearing the mask, it should give me an access denied, and it'll give me an error message saying that the person is not wearing the mask. So this actually came back now. Let me just get connected here. So if I type in mask here, you'll see there's a little setting there called mask auth rule. Good. And if I now look at the device, again, it says access granted as normal because I am wearing my mask. If I take the mask off and I now look at the device, it says access denied, user without mask. And I'm not sure if you could see that properly, but it does come up with a message saying user without mask. So I look at it again. It says access denied, user without mask. I put the mask back on. I look over at the device and it's back to access granted. So I'll just turn that back off again because there is one more thing that I think I'd like to show. Before I do that, one of the other changing factors is aging. So even if you age up to 20 years, the device will adapt to that. Even if you're wearing a helmet, even if you grow a beard or shave a beard, the only thing that's important is during the enrollment process, make sure that your face is as clear and clean as possible. So don't wear a mask during enrollment. Don't wear glasses during enrollment. Even if you wear glasses every single day, don't wear your glasses during the enrollment process. Have your face clear of hair, and when you look at the device, make sure your expression is about as neutral as possible. The device even works with these face shields, so even if I put one of these face shields on here, and I look over at the device, it'll read right through that, and it'll still be able to identify you. The device also has some ocular safety built into it. So if I get my hand really close to it, you'll see those lights will actually turn off. Let me see if I can show a quick enrollment procedure. So what I'll do, I'll move the...
And JJ, while you're pulling that up, just a quick time check here. We have a couple of questions that in the chat we can address, and for those that are on, JJ and I can stay after the top of the hour to answer additional questions, but please try to type them into the chat before it closes here in about 5 minutes. So JJ, do you want questions now, or do you have something else you want to show real quick?
I just wanted to quickly show an enrollment. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move this over to this side here. And then I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so we can see everything. And then I'm just going to show very quickly what the enrollment process looks like for these readers. This software has full integration with many different PACS systems. So depending on which PACS you use, probably we're already integrated with that to pull the user information in automatically. Now, in terms of the face enrollment, it's really simple. We just click on the face itself. The device immediately goes into enrollment mode. I have to just sit in front of it for about 3 to 5 seconds. And it does that full 3D mapping, the face mapping, and the 2D mapping, everything all at once. And it's like sitting in front of a camera, just getting captured for a school photo picture. You can save this photo if you want. This doesn't matter. We don't use the photo at all for purposes of biometrics. This can be discarded completely, especially early in the morning like this when my face is all puffy. So I definitely don't want to keep that. And then to do my hand enrollment is I'll also enroll my right hand now. I just click on the hand. I can set whether I have fingers that are bandaged or fingers that are missing. I'll click next, and it says, please wave your hand. So you'll see exactly the same way that you use it is the way that you're going to enroll. We always recommend that you enroll index finger first. I might have put my hand in too deep there. So, and my fingerprints will immediately come up on the screen. Again, these images are just for the person that's doing the enrollment to actually determine the quality and if there are any issues with the fingerprint there. With some training, it's very easy to spot kind of what the issue is if there is any problem during the enrollment process. But again, it's very simple. You swipe your hand through 3 times, you'll click next, you'll click finish, and you'll see the light go off, the light come back on, and I can immediately validate now with that hand that didn't work earlier. So if you remember, only my left hand worked. So now both my left and my right works as normal. So Tim, let's get into the questions.
Great, thank you, JJ, and great demo. Thank you, a lot of information. First, we have a few questions here. First one is there any compliance with GDPR and ensuring that data gets deleted everywhere with so many points of collection and storage?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So IDEMIA is actually headquartered in France. These devices are actually manufactured in Paris. And GDPR is of topmost importance to our company and to our brand. So we have various, GDPR is a pretty wide field. There are parts that are the responsibility of the manufacturer, there's parts that are the responsibility of the integrator, and there are parts that are the responsibility of the end user. What we make sure of is that we provide, number one, the methods to be GDPR compliant. So that is both in security. So this is things like making sure there's encryption end-to-end, making sure where the data is stored is encrypted. We have methods to automatically delete users everywhere. So based on the question, yes, absolutely, we can delete users. So once a user either opts out or a user is no longer with the company, there's certain parameters that you can set, and it coming from the access control system will automatically pick up that that user is no longer there. The user will be disabled. Once the user is disabled, it'll wait a configurable amount of time, and then it'll automatically purge that user with all of its information out of the system completely. We've got different methods of keeping biometric data, so that could either be on database or on card. And if it's on card, you could even have it where you do not even keep the biometric information in the system. Everything's on-prem. Nothing is ever shared over the cloud or with IDEMIA or with anyone. So that's completely up to the customer. And obviously we can guide you, the integrator, as well as the customer, to make sure the way that they do the deployment and the architecture over multiple geographical zones complies with GDPR requirements as well.
Excellent, thanks, JJ. Next question here is there any way to remotely control sites and push firmware, or does someone have to physically visit the location?
Yeah, you can absolutely do it remotely. So all of these devices are IP based. So if you can get into the server, either locally or the geographical server, and the IP, the firmware upgrade functionality is turned on, because this is something that you can turn on and off from a security perspective, then yeah, you can absolutely do that remotely. There is no need to be on site to push new firmware to the device.
Okay. Excellent. I have no more pending questions now. So unless one comes in the next few seconds, we can close here. JJ and I do have another session where we will be doing this live demo and Q&A again this afternoon at 1:30 p.m. Central Time, and obviously the session is archived for your viewing. So JJ, any closing comments?
Yeah, go and buy some Vision Pass and some Morphowave. So we'd really like that. But again, no, the last comment that I really have is, if you are interested in doing an evaluation or a proof of concept, just reach out to us. We're happy to help and get you guys set up with one of these devices. And that is my wake up alarm.
Thank you, JJ, for the demo. Thank you to the Convergint team for having us. Thank you for all of us that have joined us this morning. And like JJ said, if you have any further questions or interested in learning more, please reach out to us. And either JJ and I will work with you and or we will connect you with a IDEMIA representative in your neck of the woods. So thank you very much for joining.
Thank you.